Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Top Chair Sports. It's Thursday, so you all know what that means. It's time for some NFL. And now I just want to go through a quick summary of how the next few weeks are going to go here in the NFL. Let's not lie to ourselves, it can be pretty dry sometimes in the offseason. I mean, the draft has happened. Pretty much all of the big signings and contract extensions we expected to happen have happened at this point. There might be one or two more things in free agency, but we pretty much hit a dry spell here that is looking worse than the Dolphins' playoffs hope compared to what most experts believe. So, with that, we're going to try and give a little bit of a base to each episode from here on out for the next 8 weeks or so, and then that will take us halfway through preseason, and we can kind of by that point have a little bit to go off of and talk about what's actually active in the league at that point in time. We'll still keep you up to date on any big news that happens, any huge signings or contract extensions, or the latest drama surrounding the Raiders once it's on Hard Knocks. But up until then, we're going to also add in our summaries for one division at a time for the next 8 weeks. So each week will be a different division, kind of analyzing just how we think the division will play out, where we see each team falling in that division, a quick rundown of the teams themselves, if I believe they will have a winning or losing record, along with that, if I believe they'll make playoffs for that year. And I'm not going to get into exact schedules and exact outcomes as far as records because, one, I haven't sat down to look that in depth yet at every team's individual schedule, to look at their strength of schedule, which ones are home, which ones are away, and two, I'm not going to get them all 100% anyway, so I don't want anybody to hold me to me saying that, for example, especially with, let's use Pittsburgh because that's where the bias is. If I say Pittsburgh will end second in the division at 10-6 and clinch a wild card, and let's say they finish 9-7 and don't, that's where the problems will come. So to avoid all that, we're going to just avoid saying actual records. But with that, we're going to dive right in. This week, the first division that we're going to do is the NFC East. So obviously in the NFC East, we have the four teams of the Washington Redskins, the New York Giants, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Dallas Cowboys. And just starting with where I believe is the bottom and working our way up, and I'll touch on that. But after the video, please, everybody come back, give your recommendations as far and your opinions as far as if you think the structure we have here is good, and also if you believe that the order we have for each division at a time as we do them is the same as ours. So with that, who I see being the lowest in the NFC East is the Washington Redskins. I know they're one of the two favorites to be the bottom of the division. We saw last year the collapse that the Redskins went through when pretty much anybody except Alex Smith was behind center for them. And seeing as he will not be there this year, I don't see it improving anytime soon. The addition of Dwayne Haskins is huge, and that's great for them. I hope he develops, but I don't see it being such a sudden change. He, in my mind, is not the player that can jump in and just automatically go from a team that was struggling the whole last 5 games to being a team that's going to go 12-4. It's just not going to happen for me. Over time, I see them getting a lot better. There are bright spots on this team, especially on that defense, but this offense is going to need to figure things out aside from QB also. If they're going to get to that point, I mean, Jordan Reed's always hurt, and just other aspects of that team, I have them ending as fourth in the NFC East. I have them with a losing record, obviously. I don't have them making playoffs. Not a bright season coming up for the Redskins in my mind. Second, we have the New York Giants, or I should say third in the division, second worst team. It was a toss-up for me almost between the Redskins and them as far as who was bottom and who was second uh, to last. Now, before I get into the Giants, I don't want there to sound like there's any bias. I will admit, I'm not a fan of Eli Manning. I'm also not a fan of Saquon Barkley. However, Barkley impresses me. His rookie year blew me away. I expected big things from him, but I didn't expect him to be the powerhouse that he was, that most people thought he would turn into right away. So, congrats to him on doing that. I mean, that's a huge bright spot for him in his career, as well as the Giants for hopefully years to come. Just like last year, though, this won't be enough for him to carry them to a winning season. It's just not going to happen. I think Eli is still the better option at QB for this team. I hope to see him there for the team's sake for at least the first half of this season. Let your rookie develop, let him train behind somebody who has won 2 Super Bowls. There's no need to rush in when you do have a guy who is a veteran, like him or not. So, unless things change, his fate is obviously up in the air come the second half of that season if they still don't do well at all in the first half. But aside from QB and aside from Saquon, this offense still needs to improve. Losing Odell does not help at all with that. And this team knows they're going through a rebuilding phase, so I don't think they expect too much from the season, just hopefully not to come in last place in the division. Defense also needs to improve. So all around, I have the Giants being the third word, or being number 3 in the NFC East, with a losing record, not making playoffs. Now, I know they won the division last year, but I have the Dallas Cowboys as the second best team in the division. I don't have them winning the division this year. We saw what this offense is capable of when they're all clicking together. Zeke obviously is a beast, and anytime there's a 4th and 1, I have no doubt he's going to be able to keep that offense on the field. We saw what Amari Cooper and Dak Prescott can do together now, especially now that they have time to build the chemistry between them and build that relationship. And it will be interesting to see Jason Witten back out on that field and see if he can produce still. Obviously, taking some time off, he didn't like retirement, so I hope for his sake that he's able to jump right back into it and be able to be productive and be the safety net for this team that he was at the tight end position. Also, this defense really impressed me a lot last year. They kept them in games a lot more than I thought they would, and as long as their guys are able to stay healthy on defense, I truly believe that this team will do well. I believe they have a winning record this year. Probably, I know I said I wouldn't get into actual records. I see them roughly at 9-7, maybe 8-8. So right around that fringe, even or just above 500. I don't have them making playoffs this year. This could all change. They could win the division again, but you don't see too many people in that division go back to back, and I don't see it happening this season. And I have the Cowboys as the second best team there. Finally, that leaves the best team from who I believe will be the best team coming out of that division this year and winning the NFC East is the Philadelphia Eagles. Brett and Spencer went over 2 weeks ago the contract extension that the Eagles laid out for Carson Wentz, and earlier before that even I talked about the Jordan Howard acquisition for them. I believe he will be a huge jump to their run game. I know Jay Ajayi, when they got him at the time over the past 2 years, like that provided a quick boost. I believe Jordan Howard is a lot better than Jay Ajayi. I think he will be able to carry that, get them sustainable run game, not just a couple different guys, and hopefully one of them is hot that day and it kind of changes week to week. Week in and out, I believe Jordan Howard will provide a run game. Carson Wentz, we know, will provide the passing game. This team in the past 2 years has made obviously their Super Bowl run, and then last year the late season run to make it into playoffs, get that first round upset on the double doink. So I see the Eagles being a threat. I don't think they liked being that wild card last year. I see them coming back, winning the division, especially as long as Carson Wentz can stay healthy and their defense can stay optimistic and really go out there and provide for them, which they failed to do in the first half of last season. I see them basically splitting games with the Cowboys, and other than that, cruising through the division on their way to a winning record and making the playoffs uh, as the division winner. So, with that, that was the NFC East recap. As I said before, please go on, like, comment. I want to know where you think. Do you think that the Giants or Redskins can put up a season that comes close to 500? Do you think they can make playoffs? Do you see somebody other than the Eagles winning the division? Do you see the Eagles or Cowboys coming in last in this division? There's a lot of things in this division in particular is always all over the place, which is why I wanted to start with them as the first division that I did this recap for, or this summary for. And make sure to like, comment, smash that subscribe button, and tune in next week to see what division we take on for NFL Thursdays. Thank you.